Hello everyone, my name is Katie Lewis and I'm the founder and CEO of Borrow. Borrow is an online marketplace for local renting. At Borrow, we serve to facilitate the transaction between small businesses, local neighbors, and peers in order for them to be able to rent to and from one another. We provide a secure platform for people to be able to rent their inventory and supplies in a way that they can make a passive income or an additional revenue stream. To understand Borrow, I want to introduce myself and kind of give you some history. So when I was at the University of Texas for undergrad in 2013, I was taken away from my financially secure parents' house and put into a shoebox with a roommate without the financial security of having someone supporting me. So suddenly I was put in this situation where I had to recognize that you don't have every item that you need. I viewed ownership a little bit differently because I was borrowing from my friends and they were borrowing from me. And that's when I learned the act of borrowing sucks because it is an outdated process. To start, you look at the act of borrowing and it's a one-sided transaction. There's no monetary element to it, so the person that is actually borrowing is not benefiting, or the person that is borrowing is benefiting but not the lender. On the other hand, there's no terms and conditions, so if something comes back, it's not always in the same quality that you left it in. And finally, you're limited by your accessibility to the people around you. You don't necessarily have the ability to borrow from someone random, you have the ability to borrow from somebody you know. I saw this and I also learned a lot about the sharing economy, which taught me that there was an opportunity to revolutionize and modernize this process. Our solution is sustainability first. We are trying to eliminate the need for shipping and a huge carbon footprint. We focus on the local area in order to supply an opportunity for businesses to source materials nearby. We also have the target market of businesses. We're focused on a B2B model as we know that this has the highest margins for our type of business. This is a cost-saving opportunity because a lot of the first purchases a business is going to make is going to be very capital intensive. So offering an opportunity and an alternative to ownership gives them the flexibility to be able to rent from others. We also are offering an additional revenue stream. Businesses don't need to become rental companies, but they can go through us in order to make additional revenue off the items that they already have. And finally, we're a secure platform. The secure platform is really a key element because we want to provide people the opportunity to work with one another in a way that they know that they're getting value. Now, walking you through the business process in a very quick way, I'm Katie Lewis LLC, and I have an inventory. I upload pictures of my inventory onto the Borrow marketplace. In this marketplace, it serves as an inventory management system, which is a huge benefit because us at Borrow get historical evidence of people's purchasing history as well as their future purchases, so we can utilize that data to better market to our customers. In this marketplace, somebody goes on and finds the item that they want to borrow. At that point, it goes on to the chat feature. At this point, they're able to discuss the terms and conditions, where they can say, here's what we have, this is how we're going to facilitate the borrow, and this is the costs and conditions of the borrow. We also give them the opportunity to discuss how the borrow will take place. So they're able to discuss, is it a local meetup, is it a courier service, or is it a smart locker? There they take place of the borrow. So they go and do the borrow, the person is able to utilize the item, and then the item comes back. At the point where it comes back, the item can go back into the rotation. So you're really getting the most life of the items that you have. Now looking at the market, I specifically chose Texas because of the market opportunity. The sharing economy in general is $335 billion, but let's be a little bit more realistic. The rental market in Texas is over $800 million for supplies such as equipment and appliances. In Texas, there are over 3 million businesses that fit our business landscape, and there's over 200 neighborhoods in the Dallas-Fort Worth area, which would be a unique side of our demand. Finally, this type of market is growing at almost 5.5%, which means that there's a huge opportunity at this given time. Now, getting a little bit further into the business aspect of it, right now is a key time to target businesses, and that's because of the pandemic. During the pandemic, unfortunately, over 32% of businesses shut their doors or had to slow down their business operations. But alternatively, 34.7% of businesses started. Now, you would think these two things would cancel each other out, but it's not necessarily the case. The businesses that are shutting down are suddenly having an excess of inventory and supplies they aren't using. And the businesses that are starting are dealing with the same issues that every startup deals with. It's expensive to start a business. As well, talk about inflation and supply chain, and it just makes it a very, very good opportunity for these two groups to symbiotically use one another. Talking about the revenue model, the initial revenue model is a 15% transaction fee that's charged by us at Borrow. This is competitive with the landscape and built off of our current competition. And we're also offering insurance internally through the app. Through this and our insurance partnership, we will be able to take a 10% fee off of that total cost. Long term, we really want to move into a subscription model because subscription models are what provide us a reoccurring revenue that we can really predict. It will start monthly and move to a yearly model that really covers all those fees. And then we have our business premium opportunity. So if you want your items securely put at the top of our app, you can pay extra for that feature. Looking at the competitive landscape real fast, I want to include this because it shows a lot of different type of competition. There's existing alternatives with things such as Lowe's and Home Depot, which businesses can currently use, but there's no flexibility. The inventory is solely what they have on hand, and there's no affordability aspect of it because there's no contract that can be adjusted based off specific terms. Things like Poshmark are on here to show that there's a selling aspect that's out there, but their fees are much higher, and ultimately you're having to sell a product. Rent the Runway is on here to show the option of a corporate rental service. Again, this has a very high carbon footprint right now and also does not have the flexibility that we're offering. And the other three in the middle are Spare Tools and Rentas, which are Brooklyn-based companies that are currently doing a rental marketplace focused on consumers, which is having a hard time to gain traction. And Facebook Marketplace, if you've used it, it's not the most secure system. Going into our features, really the key features I want to address is what we offer and how we add value to our customer. So first we have the validation of the exchange. We're providing people the opportunity to find what they can't find. I want to give an example of a business I know in the Dallas-Fort Worth area. During the pandemic, they had a hard time sourcing clients because they were focused on trade shows. And obviously that became less of a thing during the pandemic. Suddenly they had all this inventory on hand, and so they looked to renting it out to people they knew. They couldn't do this because they couldn't find enough people to actually rent from them, and they needed something like Borrow to provide them that type of rental agreement. So we have that option as well as an inventory management system. Again, people can keep track of what they have and when they need to retire some items. We have in-app messaging that adds a social component for people, as well as reviews. Reviews are very key to being a platform as we need people to trust the actual platform process. We have secure payments and are looking at using blockchain, but please no questions about blockchain. And we have security within the actual app. Going into three really big differentiators at this point is the verification. You can have your items verified and you yourself can be verified. We're insured. We use insurance partnerships to make sure that people know that their items are coming back to them or going to be replaced financially. We also use collection agencies in this sense, but that's a longer process. And finally, secure the blockchain. Don't ask about it, but we will eventually bring that in once we have someone who specializes in blockchain. Overall, I want to talk about the actual impact of Borrow. Borrow is an impact organization because it offers an opportunity for people to increase their sustainability and reduce their waste. We are telling people to use the locals around them. They have the ability to go to people within their neighborhood and really make a difference because they're able to source materials close by and take full control of what they have. People are able to take advantage of the items that they actually have and be able to make the most use out of it. People are not currently using their items to their full potential, so being able to provide this alternative opportunity for a passive income is a great opportunity for businesses to scale. Our geolocated portfolio is currently set to be in the Dallas-Fort Worth area, but we have the ability to expand, and this market is very easy to get into and a low-cost risk for our customers. And with that, I want to say thank you for listening, and if anyone has any questions, I can take them now.